Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the UGLO webinar series Spotlight on Education. 1 hour, 2 aspects, 1 topic, 2 partners, in this case, the University of Porto and the University of Alcalá. My name is Lorena Silos. I work at the University of Alcalá, and I feel very honored to host this session today. And I would like to thank my colleagues, Juan Jesús García Domínguez, Ana Gigosos, and especially Sara Westman from Lund University for being always there for technical support behind the scenes. Today, we're going to talk about service learning methodology, and there's loads of interest. 80 people have registered for the seminar. The seminar is going to be recorded, so anyone who hasn't had the chance to be part of it today will be able to watch it online. It will be published on the UGLO website. We're going to have 3 speakers today, Sofia Castanheira Pais and Teresa Silva Días from the University of Porto, and Bruno Echauri Galván from the University of Alcalá. Please make sure you post your questions in the Q&A. I don't know how to call that, in the Q&A that you have there available. So please don't hesitate to ask any questions. After our speakers present the topic, we will have enough time to tackle the questions and to talk about any interesting topics that may arise during the discussion. So let me please introduce our speakers today. Sofia Castanheira Pais is an assistant professor at the Department of Education at the Faculty of Psychology and Education. And her main interests combine education, health, and well-being. And her research privileges the involvement of children in participatory methodology. Teresa Silva is an assistant researcher at the same faculty, the Faculty of Psychology and Education, and her research also focuses on citizenship, education, and children and teenage participation in political actions. She's a member of the RIADIS, which is a research network for service learning to improve social inclusion through sport and activities. And Bruno Echauri Galván is an associate professor in the Department of Modern Languages of the University of Alcalá. His research interests are very broad, but he mainly specializes in intersemiotic translation and adaptation of literary works and films. In his classes, he integrates service learning methodology in the teaching of translation. So it's a pleasure to listen to you. The floor is all yours.
Thanks for your kind words, Lorena. Good afternoon to you all. Well, imagine a classroom where academic theories are not just tools to test information, but instruments to actively help communities. This is the essence of this learning, and it is what we are here, what we are going to explore here. As you can see on the screen, our roadmap is simple, but also impactful. We are going to understand the building blocks of this learning. We're going to explore its implementation in higher education. We're going to dive into some real initiatives. And we will close, as Lorena said before, with an illuminating and surely thought-provoking round of questions and answers. The first and obvious question we must ask ourselves today is, what is service learning? Service learning is not methodology alone. It's way more than that. It is a way of understanding education. I like to think of it as a philosophy that seeks to merge academics with meaningful community service. It is not just about learning concepts. It is about showing have an actual application and obviously applying them to trigger real social change. Service learning builds knowledge, builds soft skills, community connections, and benefits students and society alike. This is very important. Service learning only works if it benefits all the parties involved, both the servers and those who are served. Okay, this is key. Also key is setting our objectives. This is an essential stage to make sure service learning is service learning and not something else. To make service learning meaningful, three things are crucial: identifying and addressing real community needs, ensuring mutual benefits, as we said before, and aligning all this with our educational goals. Keep this in mind, because this is the social action that we undertake should be embedded in our syllabus and aligned with the contents and goals of the subject at hand. If not, we're not talking about service learning, we're talking about something else. Volunteering, traineeship, but not about service learning. This is essential, an essential thing to keep in mind. Another pivotal aspect is obviously collaboration. Partnering with community organizations is necessary, and projects should pursue shared goals, theirs, obviously, and ours. It is a symbiosis we are looking for. In this regard, two things are capital. One is getting third sector organizations involved in all the stages of the project, and the other is nurturing these bonds so that they can lead to new initiatives in the future. I was talking about, nurturing the bonds with third sector organizations so that we can build lasting reciprocal relationships, weave follow-up projects, and create a strong and ongoing impact over the years. In order to implement service learning in our courses, 4 steps are essential: planning, integration, support, and participation. We need to plan the development of the action properly, and this takes time, especially first time we decide to apply service learning in our subjects. We need to align it, as I said before, with course contents, and we need to monitor students' progress and provide support when necessary. We must also encourage them, encourage their involvement in all stages of the project. There are 2 further elements that are crucial to make service learning what it is: reflection and comprehensive assessment. We must provide spaces, time, and tools for reflection so that students transform experience into academic and social learning. Assessment, on the other hand, must be all-embracing and encompass all the steps and parties involved. To assess a service learning project, we must look beyond students. We must evaluate our own performance, the development of the project, the relationship with third sector partners, the impact and success of the initiative, etc., etc., etc. We must do so by using different tools, different instruments. It can range from direct observation, dates, diaries, to rubrics, surveys, questionnaires, and along, etc. possible. Now let's see how all this crystallizes in real initiatives. Today we're going to share 2 service learning projects with you. This is the first one. This one merges translation studies with service learning. This first project, as you can see on the screen, students firstly translated sustainable development goals-based stories and some related activities into English. And then they brought these stories to life at primary schools in Madrid and Guadalajara. Now, the first step in this project was to identify the need we could cover. In this case, we collaborated with another important NGO here, Manos Unidas, to help them boost the availability, visibility, and the dissemination of some of their teaching materials. More specifically, as stated before, we translated teaching materials based on sustainable development goals into English. And we organized a series of storytelling workshops to help disseminate these resources effectively in primary schools. This ensured that these materials could reach a wider audience, on one hand, and also be used by more educators to instill global values in young students. Throughout the project, we forged a dynamic collaboration with Manos Unidas. For constant communication and joint actions were key. In this vein, we kept the NGO involved every stage from planning to execution. We organized regular updates and discussions ensuring transparency, and we invited them to the storytelling workshops so that they could witness firsthand the impact of the translated text. This wasn't just one of collaboration. Through mutual trust and involvement, we laid the groundwork for future joint efforts. In fact, we are now working bigger, more impactful, hopefully, project that could be considered a follow-up to this one I'm now sharing with you, but that's a different story. Stated before, blending academic learning with meaningful community engagement is one of the building blocks of service learning. This initiative I'm talking about demonstrated how translation projects can provide multidimensional training and drive tangible social change. To do so, among many other things, we apply translation theories directly to project-related tasks, thus enhancing students' competence both in technical and practical aspects of translation. And we integrated and boosted soft skills, like of teamwork, critical thinking, and interpersonal communication, among many others. All this was achieved through meticulous implementation. Tasks were carefully planned and monitored with checkpoints to ensure progress, and students dedicated reflection time to connect academic insights with real-world impact. Assessment, as we said before, should be cross-cutting and all-encompassing. Thus, at the end of the project, and throughout the project, we evaluated aspects beyond students' performance, like of the opinions of the NGO, social impact of the initiative, and the development of the project itself. Some of these outcomes are listed on the slide that you are now seeing, hopefully. For example, the project had a double tangible material impact. 10 stories were translated. More than 15 storytelling workshops were conducted in Madrid and Guadalajara. Feedback from all parties involved, students, the NGO, participating schools was overwhelmingly positive. Furthermore, everyone, and I think this is worth highlighting, everyone expressed the desire to partake in future similar initiatives. And students reported a stronger grasp of transition theories, improved soft skills, and increased motivation. Additionally, the bonds with the community deepened too. And all this showcases how service learning, in my view at least, fosters civic responsibility alongside academic growth. But while the initiative was a resounding success, we also learned some lessons that helped us build better and more efficient projects afterwards. By assessing our own performance, we spotted that, for example, teamwork monitoring could be improved to ensure more balanced participation. Storytelling workshops could be better organized to maximize their effectiveness and to cover more ground with more or less the same human resources. The more robust reflection and assessment tools, such as data questionnaires, self-assessment charts, diaries, etc., could be devised to provide deeper insights into both the development and outcomes of the project. This is just an example of how service learning can help transform both our classroom and our community, but there are many others. Now my colleagues from Porto will describe another exciting project that will show you the cross-cutting nature and infinite possibilities of this learning. So I'm out, and Sofia and Teresa, whenever you are ready, the floor is
Okay.
yours.
Thank you, Bruno. Thank you, Bruno. Good
Very
afternoon,
welcome.
everyone. So based on interviews with teachers and student logbooks, would like now to explore the main challenges and the potential of the implementation of service learning in our projects. So the interviews with teachers were carried out as part of the Engaged Students project, which I'll tell you about in a moment. And the student logbooks were analyzed as part of a course we are running at the University of Porto called The Community Has Practice, Transdisciplinary and Collaborative Space for Intervention course. Bruno, please. Well, as I said, the Engaged Students project was funded by the European Commission and run from 2018 to 2021. Here in our faculty in the University of Porto and the Faculty of Psychology and Educational Sciences, we have Professor Isabel Mies, coordinating the Portuguese team. And in fact, the project focused on the social responsibility of higher education institutions, and involved a partnership between 6 universities from different European countries, which got involved in service learning projects with local associations, NGOs, schools, other community, agencies. And 154 students were involved in 14 service learning projects. There were regular class meetings to reflect on these projects, and teachers guided the students to write about the most interesting aspects of their blogs and really encourage them to use logbooks to reflect on their experiences. It's important to mention the variety of ECTS for each course from 0 to 6, and also the diversity of community partners. You have here the link. So the project included a mixed method study aimed to monitor students' experience with service learning in the partner universities. It included procedures for data collection and analysis with the teachers and students. The teachers, in fact, were invited to fill in a survey on their service learning courses at the end of the experience, and to proceed a reflection on the experience. Students maintained a diary throughout their courses and shared some of their views and their opinions on a student blog. They were also invited to respond to a questionnaire at the beginning and at the end of the service learning experience, following a single group pre- and post-test design. It's important to note that the student questionnaire addresses 3 main domains of students' development: personal, academic, and civic, which are frequently recognized as learning goals in service learning projects, as we can find in the literature. Well, among the challenges most mentioned by teachers is the diversity of roles they play, which for many is an aspect that deserves to be deeper explored. As this course reveals, the teacher becomes a facilitator, a counselor, a practice guide, and the student becomes a researcher. They also referred to the context of the pandemic, and therefore identify distance learning and the e-service learning has an additional challenge, as we can read in this second excerpt. Finally, they realized that it would be interesting to promote these projects in the private sector to attract other stakeholders and to increase the impact and raise awareness. They also share their perceptions of service learning, many benefits, highlighting teamwork skills, communication skills, personality development, and knowledge transfer and the use of service learning in students' future teaching profession are also two aspects that teachers include as being potential of service learning. Another idea shared by them has to do with the fact that they think the service learning approach inspires them to include different ways of doing, such as using field notes, diaries, highlighting that learning through contact with the community has the best results in developing social and civic skills. Well, Bruno, please. The project, thank you. The project experience result in several publications, meaning reports, papers, a master thesis, and inspired the adoption of service learning in some subjects, in some courses of here at the University of Porto, namely educational intervention methodologies course. Adopting service learning since 2019, and the community as practice available since 2020. And Teresa will briefly talk about this course in the following slides.
Thank you, Sofia. Thank you all for being here with us today. Well, as my colleague was saying, one of the actions that result from this project, these engaged students, was creating a course that we call it Community as a Practice, a transdisciplinary and collaborative space for intervention course. This is a curriculum unit which is led by Professor Isabel Menezes, which is also the principal investigation from the UP team in the engaged student. As you can see, we have 5 faculties of the University of Porto that are involved in this course every year, which guarantees a multidisciplinary approach to service learning and communities. So at this moment, in this moment, we have the Faculty of Psychology and Education and Sciences, Faculty of Architecture, Fine Arts, Engineering, and Dental Medicine. As you can see also, since 2021, there has been some consistency in the number of teachers taking part. Between 8 and 12 teachers, we do co-teaching and co-tutoring too when we give this course. And in the number of students, we have also between 15 and 20 students every year. This is a course open to all the faculties of the University of Porto and runs for 1 semester, approximately 4 or 5 months in 1 year. The course is organized and monitored based on discussions of topics integrated into the course curriculum, which are illustrated by the students' field experiences collectively and in tutorials. It's also based on drawing up logbooks, and this is a very important issue that Sofia is remaining to, and producing a report at the end of the semester. At the end, a seminar is held to present the work where students at the faculty and the different members of the community who took part in these projects discussed the projects with the other researchers and present their proposal. Bruno, please. Thank you. As you can see, we made here a list between 2021 and 23-24 with some examples of the various themes explored by students since the first editions. Let me remind you that the first edition, it occurs during the pandemic, and even during this time, this difficult time, students made different options from the pandemic to the current context, and they were able to practice to do this methodology in the course. I must refer from the 6 service learning projects. I must refer at least 3 of them, just for you to see the diversity that it's possible to develop. One of them was radio as a mean of communication and intergenerational interaction. The other was Porto Island as spaces of inclusion. And the other is the bus stop as space for sociability. Well, last year, I must say that last year was a very important year for us in Portugal, because we celebrate the 15th anniversary of the 25 April, which is the year of the revolution. And we had the themes around all this thematic. And being a very important thematic for our country, we work with some young people at the 7th grade in schools, and they talk and they develop projects related to colonial wars and wars in the present, television in the past, present, and future, human rights in the past, present, and future, health, freedom of expression. Well, so many interesting projects that they developed. Based on the logbooks that the students have to keep throughout the course, we have made a qualitative analysis of the challenge and potential that the students point out for service learning. My colleagues will be reinforcing the students' opinions after I can show you. Yes, Bruno, yes, the last one, please. Just for you to see some of the projects during the pandemic year that we could made and develop. Sofia.
Yeah, thank you. Please, Bruno. So the analysis of the students' logbooks, thank you, highlights some of the difficulties they experienced. The time dedicated to fieldwork was one of these difficulties. Obviously, building a relationship with the community and all the work to make the interventions sustainable takes time, and the students feel they should have more time to do this. With regard in the next slide to the potential of the service learning projects, the students emphasized the working methods. They liked the group work, field notes, the diaries, and considering that these were useful tools for making the experience more reflective and active. They also said that the service learning approach helped them to promote better relationship with themselves and with other people, meaning their colleagues, their teachers. And as you can see in the following slide, they also consider that the adoption, the implementation of service learning in this course favors a better relationship with the community, saying that there is enormous potential in collaborative work. They mentioned that the experience was an eye-opener for young people who are concerned about the urgent issues facing the planet and who want changes now. And they also emphasize a set of skills that derive from involving the community, especially adolescents and young people, in the design and development of practical solutions that are important to their contexts. Here we can see some posters made by our university students with young people from schools and community contexts involved in service learning projects. It's a final moment of the project. It's a moment of celebration in our faculty when young people go to the university to discuss their work with academic researchers and describe what they have achieved. So regarding the implementation of service learning projects, there are a number of guiding principles to be taken into consideration. The active involvement of students, the primacy of identifying the problems, needs, resources, the clarification of competencies to be worked on, the development of resources in action, the reflection, systematic reflection on the work being done, and this important, this very nuclear aspect, which is time and institutional support from the implementation of the projects, the activities. These phases you can see, sorry, Bruno, these phases you can see below are the ones that should be considered for the implementation of successful service learning projects. We don't have much time to go into each one of them, but I would like to tell you that there is a dependency and a sequency between these phases. And finally, now, almost the last slide, the service learning approach can be implemented in several subject areas, in small short-term projects, implying a sense of commitment, a strategic institutional vision. And obviously, it gives a new meaning to the construction of university social responsibility within the framework of an intervention that cares for individuals, but also communities. And we hope that this webinar and the sharing of these initiatives will inspire you to implement service learning projects. So feel free now to make your questions or comments. And thank you, Bruno. Thank you, Teresa, Lorena, and Sad, all the colleagues in this webinar.
Well, thank you. Thank you all for your very inspiring projects, ideas, and everything you've told us in this presentation. It's really amazing. I was already a believer in the methodology, but I think I am even more convinced about the benefits for everyone involved in such projects, in service learning projects. Particularly what you said in one of your last slides, that the students believe that these projects made them better people and professionals. And I think that not only applies to students, but also to teachers, to the faculty involved in these projects, that you believe that your job, what you do every day in your daily life as a teacher, as a faculty member, is more meaningful. I don't know if any of our participants have themselves been involved in such projects. Maybe you would like to share your experiences in service learning methodology in the Q&A or in the chat. Please feel free to ask any question or to share your experiences. We have a question from Ana Gigosos from the University of Alcalá, and she wonders whether, as an administrative, people could also carry out these projects. Have you had any experience working together with administrative staff in Porto or in Alcalá? Or do you think it's important to also have the support of administrative staff to, I don't know, to develop these projects in a more, with a better capacity, perhaps? I don't know.
You're always welcome, especially if you have to deal with budgets and with, communicate with many different agents involved. I think that they are very welcome. In fact, we have applied for a service learning project within this community we have created with other European universities, and I reckon that maybe administrative staff could be very helpful if we are granted funding, etc. I think someone like Anna skills can be very useful. So yeah, I think they can be part of this project as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, in our case here in the University of Porto, we have this experience of involving staff in our projects, especially those who are directly related with the social responsibility of the higher education institutions. So yes, they are really very welcome, and if possible, yeah, to join us.
Thank you both of you. We have another question. I don't know. Yeah, Gemma Montalvo addresses Anna and says that she's very welcome to work with them. We need help with the coordination with high school centers. So Anna, you have an opportunity there to cooperate with Gemma Montalvo, who's also faculty member of the University of Alcalá. I also, I mean,
something else. Sorry, if I can add something else. Sorry to interrupt you, Lorena, but I think that one of the good things, in order to elaborate on this a little bit, one of the good things of service learning is that it's cascading in so many ways, not only topic-wise or field-wise, but also the people that can be involved in the service learning project. And it is like a very a wide range of profiles are welcome. People like Anna, but professors and teachers, and people from third sector organizations. From, I mean, they can be so all embracing, and that's one of that's the beauty of this project, that they can embrace very different fields, different faculties, different staff, etc. So yeah, I just wanted to add that to Sofia's remark and to my previous to my previous opinion. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Bruno. Yeah, you were mentioning, Bruno, assessment in service learning projects. I think it's one of the main issues, or the main, how do you really assess these projects? I think many teachers, many of us have wondered how am I going to really tackle the assessment? And you were also talking about monitoring teamwork. Do you assess teamwork as well? And how do you do it? And it's a question for everybody involved. I mean, for Teresa and Sofia too.
It's definitely a part of the assessment, of students' assessment. I do it via different instruments, different tools. It's a self-assessment chart with different points throughout the semester they have to fill in, and it is a way to spot problems in teamwork. I mean, it has happened to all of us, and it occurs in this project as well, unfortunately. So this is one of the main tools that I use. Again, this self-assessment chart. I mean, self-assessment. Let me reword this. They assess their peers' performance in the group, so not self-assessment per se. So yeah, they do this like 3 times throughout the semester, and again, it is a way to spot problems, not right from the start, but at a very early stage, and try and solve them. And this is very useful. We also have small team discussions, etc., questions to see how they are working, whether they are tackling this problem or this other issue. But this is a very useful tool that I strongly recommend, because, as I was saying before, it has helped me spot some problems at an early stage, tackle said problems, and then the other 2 charts they submitted were very different. I mean, we talk, we table the problems, we discuss them, we convince the person or that particular person who was not working as hard as the others that he or she should be more involved, etc., and it is very useful. So it is very simple. It is a very simple chart with 6 questions, yes or no questions, plus a section for further remarks if they feel like sharing or expanding on the responses. But it is very, as I said, very simple but very useful. If you do this 2-3 checkpoints throughout the semester, you can spot issues and solve them before they explode at the end of the semester, which is something that we all, I think, have dealt with. You know, the end of the semester, but fulanito did not work as hard as he should, and well, in order to prevent this, for instance, is a very useful tool.
Mm-hmm. Well, I might say in our case, in following this Bruno's idea of systematic work with students, we also have, regarding the assessment, the analysis of the logbooks of students and a final report in which each group describes the implementation of service learning project. So it's a way of assessing, of understanding the process. I don't know, Teresa, if you want to add any idea, but we are now in this time, especially until the beginning of February, in the assessment time. So we are now with this in hands. I don't know, Teresa, if you want to add anything.
Just to explain a little more about the logbooks and the questions. Well, we have about 12 questions guiding these logbooks, and some of them are related to professional and technical skills, and the other are related with individual affective skills that they have or they feel that they had to develop during this course. This is one way of monitoring and evaluate this part of the unit, the course. But also we have the tutorials made by the teachers. Every group has two tutors, two teachers that are always present in all the stages of the development of the project. And I think that it's a very important tool. So we have two quantitative instruments to evaluate. Well, I don't know if I can call it that way, and we have an informal process of evaluate, which is the combined perception that teachers has about that group that was accompanied during the course.
Thank you very much. We have a question from Miguel Ángel Ramiro Avilés. Well, it's a question with two different questions. First of all, how do you manage the concept of social justice in your service learning projects? That would be the first one. So the concept of social justice, that for that we would need maybe another session, but I'm sure you can summarize it. And the second one, have you considered to implement service learning with other faculties? So I suppose he means interdisciplinary projects. Thank you very much, Miguel Ángel, for your question. And I don't know, Teresa, if you want to.
Yes, I could start, but I will start by the end, by the last question. Yes, our course is a course which is an offer to all the faculties inside the University of Porto. So University of Porto has 17, I think, faculties, and all the students in all the university could access to this course. And it's possible to have these different faculties working together, and it's desirable to do that because we have different perspectives, and the groups are mixed. We have the challenge in the beginning of the course to mix students from different faculties because all of them has different perspectives to bring to these communities, to bring to these projects that they propose to do. Yeah. About social justice, well, it's really difficult to answer. I don't know. I ask for your help, Sofia and Bruno, but I think it's very, very important. One of the things that we have in this course, which is students must go to the communities, must know the communities, must understand and make the profile of this community, based on the needs, but also the resources that the community has to implement some kind of project. So when they start in the field, when they start to making proposals, they don't have this paper of I'm the specialist. Okay, I already has something new about this community, and I know how to propose, how to combine all the perspective, and we sit around the same table with the stakeholders in the communities, with the students, with the schools, and so on, in the same table to talk about this. I think it's the first step for social justice. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, in line with Teresa, just to emphasize the idea that on one hand, in theoretical terms, we talk about these concepts. So we explore, we discuss about this, and this is something we do in the classroom. But on the other hand, it's something that we really want to move to the communities. So the students and also I can say also teachers, everybody who is really involved, experience in real contexts the problems, the strategies, and discuss and try to develop here alternatives to better, solutions to make people's better conditions, to give people's better conditions. And this is not let's study a possible case. This is real life. So I think service learning approach has or show us really potential in this sense of social justice.
Thank you. Thank you, Sofia. Thank you, Teresa. I don't know, Bruno, if you want to add anything else or...
Yeah, well, about the second question, well, I totally agree with Teresa. I mean, I think that you said before, service learning is rather cost-cutting, so you can always bring together people from more faculty. They did in their project, as they explained before. We are going to do it hopefully in the near future with one project that we are currently building. So yeah, it's definitely a possibility, and normally one of the natural outcomes of service learning initiatives. About social justice, in my case, I think it plays a twofold role. Firstly, because it is an inherent part of the materials that students work with, the materials they translate deal with social justice, with gender equality, with equal access to health, to education, etc. So they deal with that as they translate, and they deal with that in the classroom, because we organize discussions, debates, the contents of the stories they work on. And then by making this available in these storytelling workshops, by making this available to a wider audience, is also they're granting access to materials that help create a more just society. So yeah, it is definitely one of the it is definitely at the core of the initiatives that I have promoted so far, and yeah, it's more or less what I can say about this.
Thank you very much. In relationship to that, the interdisciplinarity of service learning, I was also wondering, as part of a university alliance, do you believe service learning can be made transnational? I think Teresa and Sofia already have an experience with that. Did you find any difficulties, any national obstacles, any cultural interference when carrying out the project? Or do you think we all want to become better persons and become more involved with our communities, and that is a universal desire, or I don't know, aspiration maybe? Thank you.
I don't know, Teresa, if you want to start, but just a quick idea. I don't know if it's something that we can say it's a universal, universal, desire, but I really believe, and the experience that we have with engaged students and other projects in these lines show us is that it's possible to involve several colleagues, several institutions in this kind of approach in the university. And I think this is a win-win relationship. Everybody gains, everybody learns something, experience something in a positive way, obviously. Teresa, I don't know if you want to say or to give an example about our experience.
Yes, I'm just, it's only an example, but when we are doing this one summer school related with this project to engage students, one of the groups tried to develop one project related to the refugees, to one camp of refugee. And it was very, very interesting, because in this project we have faculties from engineering, economics, psychology, and education too, and arts, fine arts, I think so. And the result of this project that these students made all together related to a refugee camp, it was very, very interesting, because they can consider different sides of the needs that the camp, the refugees in the camp has, relating to water, relating to the organization by spaces and so on. And it was very, very interesting. And regard it, it was from different countries. We have Romania, Lithuania, Portugal, Austria. So many different realities with so many different backgrounds, and they can contribute, they can imagine a different project, and I think it's really social justice in action, and put people talking together. I remember this example. Sorry, Sofia.
Yeah, thank you, Teresa, for complementing the idea. Just an additional point, Teresa said these different points of view to find common solutions and better solutions. I would just say that it's important that we have a strategic vision in our institutions, at least in our departments. We can start one or two, and maybe next year or two years following this, 3 or more colleagues working with us. We can start, but it's important to have this vision. What do we achieve with this? What's our main goal? How can I do this with who is with me? So yeah, I don't know, Bruno, if you want to go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking that this question that we can all here answer this question that Lorena posed before. I mean, we're in this science together. I think this is the perfect spot to stop like preaching and start practicing, right? I mean, I think that people with an interest in service learning can find partners here within this science to try and develop this transnational joint project together. And I would definitely, I would like to encourage people to try and reach out to partners from other universities if they think that they have a good idea that can be developed together. I think this is a very good scenario to flesh it out and to build joint projects. So yeah, I definitely think it can work transnationally, and I think that we are in the right spot to try and answer these questions ourselves by doing it. So yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to add.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think you were saying, no, look for the needs of the community. So we need to look for the needs of a more maybe transnational or universal community. Miguel Ángel Ramiro was also adding to this same discussion, no, that he believes that he works with legal literacy of people with HIV. And he believes that the universal approach is possible because we talk about social justice, human rights, democracy, and I mean, goals that are international, transnational to all of us. So, well, with this spirit, I think we unfortunately have to come to the end of our session. I would like to thank you again for being here, for sharing your ideas, your knowledge, your expertise with all of us, and I'd like to thank the audience. When you leave the webinar, 5 questions will pop up. Please take the 30 seconds that you need to answer them because they help us a lot to make this project, this spotlight on education better. And stay tuned for the recording of the webinar and for more spotlight on education coming along your way. Thank you very much and have a lovely evening. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you all.